Welcome to the Wednesday night meeting of the recovery rooms. My name is Lucky and I'm a grateful recovered addict. I'd like to extend a special welcome to any newcomers or visitors from the outside area. This is a non-smoking, non-vaping venue. Can I now ask everyone put their phones onto silent, not to use them during the meeting? For anyone who doesn't know, the toilet's straight through the double doors, first right at the end. The only requirement for any person to attend this meeting is to have a desire to stop using alcohol and all other mind-altering substances, including all troublesome addictions. The recovery room's safeguarding policy, which everyone must adhere to, is that this meeting is a safe place for everyone and there is a zero tolerance for harassment, any form of discrimination or predatory behaviour. Anyone who breaks this policy is not permitted to attend the meeting until they change their behaviour. The recovery rooms has only one sole purpose: to help alcoholics and addicts recover from the disease of addiction. The recovery rooms has its primary piece of literature, which is the Recovery Room's Guide to Recovery, which lays out a 10-point plan of action on how to recover one day at a time. A lot of people in the recovery rooms have decided to work through the 10-point plan with a sponsor who is simply an addict who is clean and sober and has been through the work themselves. The suggested action plan of recovery is based on the spiritual solution to the disease of addiction. The recovery rooms has no opinions on outside issues. We do not wish to engage in any controversy and we neither endorse nor oppose any causes. This is a speaker meeting. Each week a speaker is invited to come along and share their experience, strength and hope with us for about 20-25 minutes, and this week we're lucky enough to have Ray, who's kindly come along to share with us. Over to you, Ray.
Thanks, Lucky. I'm Ray. I'm an addict.
All right, Ray.
All right. It's good to be here. It's been a long day. And I thought, oh, do I really want to go to the meeting and, you know, go to the rooms and that? Like, I've been to a few this week and I have got a life. I thought, I can't let Lucky down. Otherwise, I won't hear the end of it. Do you know what I mean? So, no, thanks for asking me. My sobriety date's 12/11/12. I came in here nearly 13 years ago. And I remember I was mad as a bag of spanners. I remember the old timer said, sit down, shut up, don't say nothing. I was like, you're right. And I thought, who are they talking to? Like, do you know who I am? Oh, I think I am. Yeah, I'm just a crackhead from Hackney. Yeah. And then they said, we've seen the likes of you coming here, just sit down, you don't have to say nothing. And then I remember there was like, there was all these things around, like these things. And I was like, oh, I don't know, what am I doing here? My mate says to me, come to the rooms, come to the rooms. I said, oh, I don't really want to go to the rooms. So he said, oh, come on, come on. I said, you need it, I don't need it, you're all right. And he said, no, come on, come to the... So he had to pay me to go, because I thought, I'm not going off my own fruition. You can pay me, I'll go. So I went in there, and I was like, when it finished, it was the longest hour of my life. It felt like doing a bird for about 25 years. Yeah. And I was like, what is that, mate? I said, is that where you go to recover or whatever? He went, yeah. I went, no, mate, not a bit of me. I'm all right as I am. He went, all right, mate. Then I went back the next day. And then I stayed. It's really good. You know, because I get a lot out the guide to recovery. You know, it helped save my life from the, 10 points and that. And it's really transformative because I had to learn to be honest. You know, I had to learn to, because I was fed up with the high cost of low living. And I thought to myself, it's like, when I was using, I had all good intentions to stop. You know, you put a lie detector on me, I would have passed it straight away. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. I've had enough. I'm powerless. I've got no power, choice or control. Once I start, I can't stop. And once I stop, I can't stay stopped. You know, and then as soon as it's midnight, 1 minute after midnight, I'm down the cash point. It's like fucking scene of Thriller down there with like all the crackheads. And I'm down there, I'm waiting, getting all my money out. You know, I'm a millionaire for an hour. And then I'm skint for 2 weeks. And I'm going out grafting to fund my exorbitant habit I had. Like what's mentioned before, I could have bought 2 Bentleys in a house, the amount of drugs I used. I'm not like, but it's true. I went through so much money, unbelievable, and I took a lot from a lot of people as well. You know, I got wrapped up in all sorts of circles to all sorts. From where I come from, we dealt with the Yardies, and then we had the triads, we underestimated them because, like, you think, they're little skinny fucking, they're whatever. Most deadliest, dangerous people I've ever met in my life. Because we thought, he's a little geezer. We could just rob him. It's like, what's he going to do? It's like, it looks like he's working, And then we took what we had to take. Didn't think nothing of it. Next thing I knew, my mate, he was gone, mate, at night, gone. And it was really scary stuff. We got him back in the end, but it was very not good, lucky. But, where I grew up, when I was younger, the elders, they had respect. And you couldn't talk to them like shit. You had respect. It's not like that today. Now, you've got all the little hood rats running around thinking they're gangsters with their little Nike hoodies and balaclavas selling, 1.2s and thinking they're Pablo Escobar. More like fucking Pablo Marsbar. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't do nothing. And that's what I mean. It's all gone. It's all gone. The respect is gone in the game. Everyone stabs everyone now over a postcode. You live in E5, you live in E9. I'm going to stab you because you live in a different street. What's all that about? The world's gone mad. So that's the sort of era I got brought up in Hackney and that. I was a crackhead, before I even touched, like with sweets. When I was a kid, I was a crackhead for sweets and sugar. They call it ADHD now. I call it being a little shit. Because, there was none of that when I was a kid. Oh, you've got autism, you've got... No, you've got behavioural problems. Fix up, sort yourself out, and a good hiding will sort you out. That's how it was. Now they've got Childline. I'm going to ring Childline. Do you know what I mean? All of that. But anyway, that's how I got brought up. We got brought up with an iron fist. Do you know what I mean? We got dragged up. And it says, with twisted morals, don't shit on your own doorstep. Don't nick off your own. Like then my mum's selling dodgy stuff behind the bar in the pub, and then holding drugs for drug dealers, but don't nick off your own. You know what I mean? And she would switch the alcohol, the cheap alcohol, for the expensive ones. Once everyone got pissed, she switched it around. But she was like, don't say nothing to no one outside of here. No one needs to know what goes on in here. So that's when I come in here, and then I had to be honest and start telling people about all my stuff. I was like, hold on a minute, I'm going to tell a random nutcase all my business that I don't know from Adam. He's going to go to the old Bill, shop me, then I'm going to be on the run. See, I'm sick straight away. I've only sat down on the chair. I'm looking around thinking, what's going on here? Because I never knew anyone who was sober. I just knew wrong-uns. and scumbags, because I was one of them. I was a scumbag and a wrong-un. And I never thought I'd get like 2 minutes sober, 2 days. I loved the drink, I loved it all. You give it to me, I'll take it. And then ask what it was afterwards. Could be anything. And I was scared of heroin, petrified, because my brother was a smackhead. And I thought, I'm not going to do that. If I got on heroin, I'll do all sorts. That would take me down. I said, I can't get on that. I would have, but I just couldn't. And and they used to say, how do you just smoke crack and that's it? How? Because I used to drink loads of that shit white ace, like it, filth, put it in the freezer for a couple of hours, tastes like champagne on a deluded night, right? So yeah, I used to go around smoking crack and the habit built up, And I had a £200 a day habit in the daytime. And then we used to go back out in the night time, down the West End, Oxford Street and all that, go and try all the perfumes and afterserve, the designer ones and that, and go and sell them all to the old, used to make a killing, mate. And we had I can't really mention where it is, but we had a shop. They used to buy all the stuff off us. And we used to get bags and bags of stuff. We used to get the order, and we used to clear up. Jump in a black taxi, buzzing off, doing a crack pipe, ringing in the ears, paranoid as fuck, in the taxi, like, awful. When we used to get the train, and it was stuff of nightmares. Talk about panic attacks. I used to do some drugs. The train used to come. It was my worst nightmare. Packed train, buzzing. I had to get on it. Awful, the worst feeling in the world. I used to do crack pipes underneath my jacket on the back of the bus. Don't give a fuck. I'm not getting off the bus. And this is what I mean. we don't think about, oh, you're on the bus with people, you're smoking crack on the bus, you've got no regard for anyone else, there could be kids on the bus. It's disgraceful. If I was on the bus, someone smoking crack, I wouldn't be happy if my kids were on the bus. And so, like, we don't, you know, this is what I mean. All morals and principles, they go out the window. The acceptable becomes unacceptable. And that's what happened with me. I'd done things that I would never dream of doing. And I've done things like that sober as well. So I come in, I got sober, and I got the love and help and support from a sponsor. I went through the 10 points program. And, you know, the recovery rooms guide, I needed to change my thinking. You know, like what we said, we can't live our way into new thinking. And we can live ourselves into new thinking. We can't think our way into new living. And, you know, I had to show, all we can do is change our behaviour, because we've got behavioural habits that needs to be changed, you know. And then it got progressively worse, you know. It strips everything away from me. You know, I had a lovely house. Now it'd be worth a fortune, but I had a big house, nothing in it. It was a crack house, basically. It was a crack house. Lovely house in Victoria Park. Beautiful. They're worth a fortune now. 3 floors right opposite the park. Lovely, beautiful, high ceilings. Shithole. Absolute shithole. Nothing in it. Bare. You know, and then I had to move out of there. And then I'd done logisticals. I used to move from there to there, to there, to there. Once they sussed me out, once they realised the game was up, I'm off to go and terrorise some more people, you know. But it's a miracle, it's a blessing that, you know, we don't have to live that life. And we have to learn acceptance, really. And I always say, acceptance don't need my approval, because if it did, nothing will be done, you know. And we have to strip back everything. We have to break ourselves down and build ourselves back up again. And I need a spiritual experience, because in my own strength, I will come up with all sorts of scenarios, think it's a good idea, and then I'll run with it, you know. Sometimes my actions and my thought process is not the best thing for me sometimes, you know. That's why I can lean on someone else who's sane-ish, and they go, look, I've got this idea. They'll go, tell me your idea. And I would tell them, I said, what do you think? I wouldn't do that if I were you, but it's up to you whether you do it or not. Then I don't do it, you know. I have to humble myself, you know, I have to humble myself, you know, because I'm recovered. I'm a recovered addict, you know, and I believe that. Because, you know, we don't stay sick forever. We can get well, you know. We're sick people trying to get well. We're not bad people trying to get good. And I feel with the support that we have in these rooms, it's essential that we utilise the support that we've got, and we utilise the honesty, that we cultivate that, and trust. All these things are learnt behaviours, you know. It's all upside down thinking. We're untrustworthy, scumbag, liar, cheat. We have to do the opposites of all of them things. It's not an overnight matter. Your addiction got built up over time. You ain't going to come in and go, right, got it, you know. I'm 3 weeks sober, that's it. I'm cured. Only bacon's cured, that's it, right? We do recover, you know, but it takes a while. Because we have to change that thought process and that behaviour, you know. Because you go through a lot of trauma. I can't speak for you. I've gone through a lot of trauma as a child. You know, a lot of physical abuse, a lot of trauma. But when I came into the rooms, I didn't realise how traumatic my life was before I came here. You know, I think I've got complex PTSD through my own actions, the life I led before, and the circles I hung around with, and the things I see, and the actions I did, and the people I was involved with. On reflection, I sit back and think, fucking hell, I can't believe I was involved with any of that. It's scary, it scares the shit out of me. I was like, I can't believe it. It does literally give me, and I had to work through that stuff in other avenues and outside of the rooms. I needed to get help for my complex trauma, because I didn't realise that I was over 10 years sober. I realised that. I thought, I'm fucked. I was over 10 years, I was going nuts. I wanted to commit suicide. I wanted to stop myself because I couldn't deal with the emotional turmoil of everything. I thought, I can't cope. I'm clean and sober. What's wrong with me? I've been clean and sober over 10 years. My life is good. I've got lovely kids. I've got a lovely place to live. I'm looking after my son. I'm a single parent looking after my boy. And I'm like, I just can't cope anymore. I'm not thinking about my son. Do you know what I mean? Or my other 2 kids who live in London. I just thought, I can't take it no more. And then I contacted the rooms and the people in the rooms, and they helped me through it. Everything is temporary. It's not a permanent, it's just temporary. And then you go through it, you peaks and flows. Nothing stays the same, and that's the joy of it. We have to ride it out. We need thick skin in this game, because if you haven't got any, you ain't gonna last. I'm telling you that. If you ain't got thick skin and you don't build yourself up very quickly and do the work required, no matter whether you're 1 day sober or a million years sober, you're fucked. The same fate's going to be for me, for you, and you. It's irrelevant. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't discriminate. This illness, it will wipe you out. It will wipe you out. But then that's why you need the power. I need that power in my life, the power of God, to help me. I need to be grounded in the power. I need to be grounded in that power, because it helps me on a day-to-day. I need to get out myself. Within myself, I'm nothing, but when I'm in the power of God, I'm everything, because I need that in my life. I need that in my life. That's my prescription for living. That's my prescription for living. I've had stuff happen in recovery, as Lucky. I had lung surgery. I got diagnosed with stage 4 COPD 10 years ago, and I had half my lung removed last year, and then I have to have another half basically removed next week. And I used to run a big organisation of football projects. I had about 200 people in my project. I had about 5 kids teams. I had done a celebrity charity game. You come to that, didn't you? I had a celebrity charity game to raise money for good causes last year. It was thriving. It was thriving. But I give it up. I give it up. I thought, I'm not doing that. Done. Because there was a lot of ego involved with that. And I needed to humble myself. I was getting above my station. I was like, all my fingers in all the pies. I had contacts. I had all these people. And I thought, what is this? I don't need this in my life. I need to focus on my health and my sobriety. And I just stopped. I give it up. And now my life is much more quieter and peaceful and calm. How long have I got, Lucky?
About 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
I just want to say, if you're struggling, and you're destitute and you've got nowhere to go, just ask for help. Ask for help, because you know what? We need to be vulnerable. We need to be vulnerable. Vulnerability was a weakness, what I thought of years ago, 15 years. If someone said, be vulnerable, and said, fuck off, what are you talking about? Are you all right? It's true. I need to be vulnerable. I need to be vulnerable and allow myself to be vulnerable and humble and open to receive that help. Because a lot of people want it and need it. It's not going to happen until you do it. So I could want it all day long. But if I don't do nothing, then I'm going to be in the same, you do what you always do, you get what you always got. If you need to make a change, that's okay. But a change ain't good enough for me. I need a profound change. Because if I don't have a profound change, I'm going back to the crack house. You don't go to a crack house for a cup of tea. I think it's a good idea. Oh, let me go and see if Jim from 1999, he's in that crack house in Dalston. I wonder if he still goes there. I ain't seen him for a while. Really? Fucking hell. What's all that about? I'll be like, in we go. And then I'm gone. I'll hold everyone hostage. And that's it. I'm off and running. Then I'm dead. I'm kamikaze, mate. I'm kamikaze. I'm suicidal. I'll go, and that's it. I'll go. I'm gone. And I'll die. I'll go out. Because, mate, if I use old diet with my lung condition and all that, will I think about that? Of course I fucking won't. I'll get on the crack bike, mate. I'm going to die anyway. That's why. But I'm so arrogant, I think nothing's going to happen to me. Won't happen. I'll smoke a load of crack, my lungs will be all right. They won't, of course I won't give a fuck, I'll be gone. And you won't see me. I won't be coming back here. I'll delete everyone's numbers, I won't be coming here, I'll be gone. And then you'll just find out. You know that Ray fella? He's dead. Yeah, he died in a crack house in Dalston. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So, you know, that's why I need to do this shit, because my life depends on it. Because there's no there's no like tippy-tappy bank of mum and dad. Oh, can you help me? No, none of that. No, there's no bank of mum and dad. Mum's not going to save me. No one's going to save me. Yeah, I'll take it down to the gutter. Yeah, I'm a street crackhead. I didn't come in here from the Epping Country Club, lovely jubbly faces and all that. You know, none of that. I come from the street. And if you're one of them people, I'm not disrespecting you. That's all well and good. I'm just not one of them. I'm a real deal, mate. And I'm going to take it down. And I'll take myself and everyone with me. I won't have no regard. But on the positive note, there is good news. You can recover. Just go through this, go through these, think about them, get a sponsor, go through this, and your life will be great. I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Butler. Okay. So, thanks, Ray. The meeting now will be opened up for sharing back with Ray as he shared with you or wherever you are today. Thanks.
Thanks, Lucky.
Thanks, Lucky. Hi everyone, I'm Holly, I'm an addict.
Here, Holly.
Thanks for being here, everyone. You know when you're saying, oh, do you know what, it ain't going to cross my mind that I'm going to die? That's what it's like with me. If my head, you know, it will forget, like, the physical health, my health conditions. And, like, if I pick up a drink or a drug again, I'm going to be doing it, like, £800 worth of sniff, 3 litres of vodka, couple of pills, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to pick up where I left off from a few years ago. It's not going to enter my head that, hang on a minute, it's been a few years since you've had any of that shit in your body holes. Like, you're going to have a heart attack, you're going to pass out and die. It don't enter my head. It doesn't enter my head. Or, you know, like, especially when I was early in, I'd walk past people and I'd see it, you know, the pint glass of lager with the little water droplets on the outside, and I thought, that would be nice, wouldn't it? You know, but hang on a minute, it's not going to enter my head. Actually, where does that lead you to, Holly? Like, you know, I don't even know where it's going to lead me to. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how we, you know, we're just... It's almost like someone's got like a whiteboard eraser and just rubbed, like, we don't think, do we? Like, that's part of the illness. And that's another thing I never used to understand, because I didn't know what was wrong with me until I come into recovery. Like, you know, I've understood myself so much, like, and what the illness is all about, and I'm still learning now on a daily basis. I'm still learning new things that I suffer from, like that I've got, like, memory problem. The things that my illness don't want me to remember, I won't remember. You know, the lies that then become the truth, because my head tells me that the lies are the truth. But do you know what? Like, thanks to going through the 10 points, I'm so free today, just like you are. I'm free. I don't need to lie about anything anymore. No, I don't always pay 30p for a carrier bag, but that ain't going to make me relapse. That is not going to keep me awake at night time, I assure you. It's not. Like, you know, it's true, though, isn't it? Yeah, right. Like, no, I'm not making an amends for that. No. So, but, you know, I've got money today so that I can go shopping and get my groceries and all that. You know, I pay my bills today. Somebody knocks on my front door, I fucking open it. You know, I'm not thinking, who's that? Who do I owe money to? Who did it? You know? Yeah, I'm just so free. And do you know what? It's not just about being debt-free or, like, you know, being free because you're not dependent on anything. Like, in here and up here as well, like, I wake up in the mornings and I've still got a thinking problem, yeah, clean and sober. I'm always going to have a thinking problem. Like, to a certain degree, I will always have that. But thanks to this beautiful programme, I don't need to put drink or drugs in my body. But, you know, I wake up and I'm just like, wow, like, I'm free. Like, I cannot, anyone who's new, I cannot explain to you the freedom that's on offer here. So, you know, like, I didn't come here to get freedom. And I heard people saying it, freedom. And I used to be like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what's all these weird people talking about freedom and talking about hope and faith? And I'm just like, no, I just want to get clean. And I was chatting to somebody earlier before the meeting started. And when I first come in, I was thinking to myself, I might get like 4, maybe 5, at a push, 6 weeks. Clean and sober, it's going to be bloody hard work, it's going to be horrible, I'm still going to want to kill myself, yeah? And, like, that's what I thought, but again, my thinking's my problem, right? That's what I thought when I first come in. And you know what? From my day one, it's still been my day one today. Like, this program is just miraculous. It's a miracle, isn't it? It's a miracle. So anyone who's new, you need to get yourself a book, get yourself a sponsor, and yeah, just get honest, get setting yourself free. And do you know what? I didn't realise how unfree I was, well, how trapped I was until and I'm getting freer. Like, every day, every couple of weeks, there'll be other little moments where I'm getting freer and freer and freer. And my life's amazing today, and I've got so many friends and beautiful people in my life. And thank you to people like you sitting up there sharing your story. Because when I was a newcomer, if people didn't sit up, and share, like, I wouldn't have been able to listen. So if people didn't come before me like you have, I wouldn't be able to listen. I wouldn't be able to relate and be like, yeah, I did that. I think like that. Like, these people are like me too. Yeah, thanks. Really grateful to be here tonight. Yep. Don't want to be anywhere else. Keep coming back, everyone. Thanks.
I'm Dave from an alcoholic.
Hello, Dave.
Man, thanks very much for that, love. Like, just... My situation is different to yours. I grew up on the streets, different streets to you, though, love, where you was. But you just had to go along with it in a way. Just like, got peer pressure. No, I never smoked crack and I never done heroin. Got offered it and I'm so glad I didn't touch crack pipe, yeah? I'd have been dead, mate. The amount of cocaine I used to do, yeah? If I was smoking that, God forbid, yeah? But yeah, growing up on the streets like that, yeah, and like my brother, like I've said before, brother being a bit older and that, going along with them, they started doing this at that age, so I started doing that at that age. Peer pressure. You say peer pressure, didn't you? You've all got your own brain. You can all say no. But I've just done everything. And then I clawed a couple of people in to do the same as that. And, man, I never thought I'd make it to 40. I thought I'd be dead by the time I'm 40, because I watched all my family die and God knows what. And I've made it, man. And I'm in this room. The book, the actions that you take to follow it, yeah? And these rooms are just immense, man. Yeah, like you said, Ollie. If you weren't here, wouldn't be happy. I need a focus, yeah? Now, Ray has decided to be my sponsor, yeah? Which is going to be absolutely awesome, yeah? The sound bloke, we're going to get to know each other really well. And it's going to be a new beginning for me again, yeah? Because I've been 16 months without a drink. No intention, thank you. No intentions of picking one up. No intentions whatsoever. My mate was sniffing coke the other day and he was all drawn a line. My other mate went, don't you fucking dare offer him that, so I'll beat you up, yeah? And I was just like, nah, straight away. Someone offered my son a line, he's 16. We went round there, I was like, what are you doing, bruv? And I nearly beat him up, but he's not quite right in the head, he had a car accident and that, but that's a different story. But just hearing your story, man, and I'm going to get to know you a lot, yeah? Appreciate all these people here, and I know I've said that, I'll say that all the time. But I've been up and down. I came into the room 16 months ago. I sat there and I listened to everybody, yeah? Didn't say a word. I thought all this God business and that, yeah? And then I understood it, yeah? And saying what you're grateful for every day and that, yeah? And sometimes it can be even just the pen that you're writing with, yeah? Or the glass of water you've got on the side. The light that you can turn on. Yeah, you take all that stuff for granted. And like drugs and alcohol, I'm done with it. And I could sit here and say that, but I still need this, yeah? And I am new to it, to a degree. I've done it off, on and off for a while, but I sat indoors depressed because I've got a stoma on my belly from drinking alcohol. Yeah, like blocked my bowel up, rotted my stomach away, so I've lost half my stomach and my whole bowel. If that's a reason to stop drinking, man, there's no more than that, is there? Now I've got my best mate, yeah? Mickey, his name's Mickey. And he's a nightmare. I'm trying to get him out in a minute, yeah? He's lost his job, he's lost his family, he's lost everything. He's been my best mate for 30 odd years. And I'm destroyed. I'm depressed. I think about him when I go to sleep. I think about him when I wake up. And I'm going to end up putting him in a box, mate. Or I'm saving up some money at the moment to try and put him in rehab. And I will do that as well, yeah? Kicking and screaming, I'll take him there. It's my best mate. I don't care how many thousands of pounds it costs. I'll work every day, every hour to make that money, yeah? But getting him in these rooms, he turns up, he's drunk, He talks over everybody. And I said, you're not at school anymore, bruv, yeah? He's just acting like that, and you lot are such responsible adults, and everything I hear from you, I take it in, and it's all going in, yeah. And the future is bright, always. Right, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
My name's Bert, I'm an alcoholic.
Hello, Bert.
Wow, that was amazing what you just shared. I have heard you before, and when I first heard you, it was at another meeting, and you scared me. It was a while ago now. It was a few years back. It was about 5 years ago. It was another place, another venue. I don't think I had a sponsor at the time, and I don't know. I think I'd just slipped. I had a slip, and I'd come in and I heard you. I thought, fuck, I'm not going to ask you to sponsor me, because I thought he's just too scary. He's just too, he's too much. And thankfully, I did get a sponsor in the end. When you spoke about the vulnerability, and it's very difficult. It was very difficult because I was vulnerable, and I had to ask someone to sponsor me, and I really didn't want to, and it was even more difficult because I had to go back. In the end, I had to go back to an old sponsor that let me go because I weren't doing the work. I weren't doing the work. He said, well, let's just be friends. I mean, and I got the proper hump. I mean, the hump. I don't want to swear. But I mean the proper. And I was, and I mean real. And I can't. I don't want. I really want to swear at the moment. Okay. And the reason being was because I'd gone through one process of the 10 points, and it was the bit, and I was just ready to share all this stuff, and I was projecting, and I was really scared, and I was scared what he would do, and I just wanted to get through it, and I was suffering, and I was hearing around the rooms that people have done this stuff and they feel good, and I wanted to get to this point. Anyway, I managed to go back, and I said, look, I'm ready. The thing is, I wasn't really ready. I'm still not ready now. I'm just a bit further. I'm just a bit more honest, because I don't believe I don't believe that you can outwork the program. I could, I still think that I could be working it more. I could be more honest. That's what I believe, and I've always gauged it with the level of uncomfortableness. If I can manage, if I can put up with how uncomfortable I am, then I'll sit with that level of honesty. If it gauges and it's all right, and I'm not drinking, I'm not being locked up or anything, or not being arrested, I'm all right. But anyway, I went through the points. I got the sponsor, and it was sharing my vulnerability, or sharing stuff that I really didn't want to share with anybody. I know there's 10 points, but it was just that one point that it was the centre of it all. I didn't care about it. It was just the bit where I had to be honest, which was the hardest bit. And I know this is a daily programme, and people say it's one day at a time. And that helped, because it was just one day. If I broke it down, don't think about tomorrow. Don't think about that next point you've got to share with your sponsor, that thing you did 10 years ago that you could get arrested for, like you. Is my sponsor a grass? I wasn't worried about that. I was more worried that he was going to tell everyone else in the meeting and what they thought about me. And I thought, and I want to swear again, but I thought I did it, and sharing with that vulnerability, it was hard, but after it made everything easier, and I managed to carry on with the rest of the points. And since that time, I've not touched a drop of alcohol one day at a time, and it's been over 8 years now, one day at a time. And I'd had 18 months before. I'd had 5 years, 5 effing years, one day at a time. And then I heard you share one day. But I'm not saying it was because of you. I'm not going to big you up like that. But it's just that you made me feel vulnerable because you were sharing something and I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear you saying it, and, you know, it's strong. I mean, I don't know if you actually do that stuff. They might be just words. I don't know. It's your life, isn't it? It's like my life. When I leave this meeting, I'm going to do what I want to do, regardless. But I know if I do certain things will happen. If I do other things will happen. It's easy. I've done it. I've tried and tested it. You know, time does make a difference. Experiences make a difference. For me, sometimes I have to get burnt, and I do occasionally get burnt. Yeah, so I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Hi everybody, I'm Mickey and I'm an addict. Lockie, thanks for taking the meeting. Ray, thanks for your chair. You know, welcome to anybody who's new. Solution is on offer in here. That's the good news. The bad news is we might be your new best friends, but hey. It's funny, you know, as you were sharing, Ray, it sort of brought back a memory. You know, when I was a kid growing up, so there was a prevailing narrative that sniff as much powdered cocaine as you want, but fuck me, don't touch crack, because you'll end up robbing old ladies' handbags, you'll be in prison, all of that stuff. Yeah, that was the narrative. It probably still is to a certain extent. So when someone pulled out a crack spliff when I was about 17 and went, here you go, I didn't go, no, I'm all right, thanks. I took it and I smoked it, and I knew what it was because I couldn't. It's not even that I wanted to say no, but I felt, yes, a bit of peer pressure, but, you know, I wanted to fucking try it, you know, and it was there and it was offered and I took it. And the same thing happened when I was 23, 24, and then I suddenly found out, like you know, mixing in different circles, and my extended family, some of them, they're not all as straight down the line as maybe I am. And one of my cousins pulled out a crack pipe. I could have easily said no. I was comfortable in his presence. We'd been together using and drinking for years, and he pulled out a pipe. I didn't go, ooh. I went, go on then, give it a go, you know, and it's fucking carnage. Like you said, you know, crack is carnage, you know, and what that led to for me was this very secretive little life where I had this group of friends over here that I sniffed cocaine with, and if they'd have known about the other me over there smoking crack cocaine with that group of friends, they probably would have stopped talking to me. So I had all this secret stuff going on, and mixing with these and mixing with those and mixing with them, you know, and the masks go on, don't they? And it's not pleasant, you know, and it was just another fucking hand grenade into my life, you know what I mean? And one thing that you shared and touched on, which I really liked, was the fact that doesn't matter how long you've been around or how clean you are, we're all a work in progress. And I firmly believe that, you know, and I've been very fortunate. I've got a couple of days under my belt, but I'm still working on myself, you know, and I don't think it's often shared enough. So yes, we come into this fellowship to try and get rid of a terrifying drink or alcohol and drug problem. But what you find is if you work this stuff, like you said, and you get the sponsor and you get the book, what you do get, which is something I never knew I was looking for, is you get this sort of peace of mind and serenity going on. And it's like, wow. And I can remember in my early days getting that thinking, Jesus, what's this? You know, and I didn't know I was looking. I just wanted to stop drinking and using. And on the back of it, as a kind of a, not an addition, it's just part of the process. My mind sort of went quiet for a bit, and it's as a result of doing this stuff. However, it doesn't always last forever, and I have to continue. I think you have to do more. I sometimes feel the longer you're around, just my belief and experience, the longer you're around, I think you have to do more. Because what worked 3 years ago isn't really serving me that well today, and I have to kind of find and search and look, you know, and that's okay because it is a constant, like you shared, it's a constant thing, excuse me, and I think as long as I have that belief, I'll probably be all right, you know, because if I start thinking I'm okay and it's all good and all of that, I'm in trouble, you know, I'll be in trouble, I think, and that's why I'm still here tonight, to hear shares like yours, Ray, and hear the sharing from people from the floor, and find people to sponsor, doing all the things acknowledged, Lockie, doing all the things I was asked to do at the beginning that are outlined in the 10 points. Simple as that, you know, and I continue to do it. I was made a promise at the very beginning of my journey. If I continued to do it and I stayed and I kept doing it, I didn't have to drink and use again. And that's why I'm still here today. I don't want to drink and use again. Because like you, if I use and drink again, I won't be back. Oh, mate. It ain't going to be no one-off for me and come back. Oh, I got relapsed on Friday. It's Monday. I'm back. I'm going to be making up for 9 years of using. And I probably won't make it back. That's the truth. And that's enough fear for me to keep doing this, because the alternative does not bear thinking about. I'll lose everything I hold dear, and then it'll kill me. No thanks. I'm quite happy where I am. Ray, God bless. Thank you.
Thanks, Mickey.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, John Addict.
Hello, John.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Really appreciate that, and I appreciate all the shares in the room tonight. You know, I always know I'm in the right place when I listen to others. There's so much taken from that. But, you know, that one bit that always stands out for me, and I didn't realise until I got recovery behind me, is that this disease does not discriminate. Because I used to come in this room, listening to people's stories, thinking, mate, I didn't go through what they went through. I mean, I didn't come from where they came from. Do you know what I mean? My parents are still together. Do you know what I mean? You know, I held down a job for a while. You know what I mean? Life's good. I didn't have no trauma, you know. Nothing to do with it. You know, it doesn't matter. This disease, when you said that, it just always thinks, yeah, I'm in the right place, I know. You know, and I had a little chuckle. I started thinking, I always I thought about like, when I first came into my first couple of meetings, and through my experience as well, and I'm lucky to have a little bit of experience, is that the minute you walk through that door into a recovery room, whether you know it or you don't know it, you're in the right place. Yeah, so there is no turning back. People do turn back and go back out the door, but the only way you're going to get partially sane, as you like to say it, is by start doing what's on offer in here. Because if you don't, then I always share with people, God, if I'd have come in here early, and there was, you know, before I was broken, this would have been the biggest, most disgusting, horrible thing that ever happened to me. Do you know what I mean? Imagine knowing being in the recovery rooms here when I was halfway through my using. I'd have been devastated, knowing there was a solution. I'd have been, oh my God, I don't want to know that. Do you know what I mean? But the minute I walked in this door, like the recovery, everybody else walks in there, you are ready, but some people don't realise they are. And they go back out there. And that for me, that's mind-blowing. You know, that's mental torture for me now. You know, I used to suffer from all kinds of mental torture, but mental torture now is coming in here and seeing people that try to get it and overcomplicate it. You know, I was very lucky to hear a share on Monday saying, you know, about people that are too clever. You know, too clever for this programme, you know, and I was like, wow. And I've seen so many people like that, because I see people sometimes, and you look at them and you can see their brain ticking, and I'm like, please, just slow your mind down. You know, just trying to channel thoughts to them, just please slow down. Because my head was like that. You know, I sometimes I tell people how I'm feeling in it, you know, and when I have them days, I do have them off days when I start thinking. And I tell people like, you know, Lucky there and others, they know, you know, I start telling them about my delusional thinking. And then people think, wow, you've been sitting that all day. I was like, no, that took 5 minutes. And they're like, you know, and they're like, what? You know what I mean? Other people, it's festered over 24 hours. I said, no, that's 5 minutes. You know, didn't you? That's an addict. I said, that took me 3 or 4 minutes. So I mean, now I'm in bits. You know what I mean? And then I think, I'm actually thinking about nothing. That means it's irrelevant, total, utter irrelevance. You know, and that's just left me being with me, so... You know, and this is what these rooms taught me, people in here. I remember coming in the rooms and I talking about, people know about my gambling problem, and I said to the very first person, because I didn't know nothing about the rooms, I thought you came in, sat down, had a chat, and they'd say, we'll see you next Wednesday. Yeah, I thought that was it. So I remember a guy at the end saying, did you enjoy this evening? I went, yeah, it was good. I said, really? I said, I can't wait. He said, what are you in here for? I said, I need to stop gambling. I said, so much. I said, because I haven't got no money for cocaine. He went, sorry? I said, I haven't got no money. I said, like, if I can stop gambling, you know, at the time, I said, I can carry on doing cocaine. And he went, good luck with that. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's a bit strange. You know, didn't talk me into it, saying, please stay with me. Went, good luck with that. Like that. And had a little smile on his face. I thought, that's a bit strange, isn't it, like that? And then I realised when I kept coming back, you know what I mean? I realised, you know, it wasn't just, you know, I've said it before, it's not just the gambling, but I get taught that in here. And I had a feeling when I came in here, you know, I don't usually swear, but, you know, people new and here that they know when you're bullshitting. And I liked that. You know when you know, I knew I couldn't get away with anything. And, they don't lay the law down in front of you, but I thought, I like that. When, every time I open my mouth, it was just like, makes me think. Because people won't put up with that, rubbish or bullshit, it helps me slow my mind down. Because at first I was always like you said, I've got an idea. And then people used to go to me, and then they used to go, oh, hang on a minute. They know. You know what I mean? They was like, we'll take that back a bit, And that's what it comes down to in the end, I will end it there. What it comes down to, it's about slowing my brain down, my mind. And then I've got a chance. And then once I've given myself a chance, I can go and help others in here. But, my only advice is if you're walking in that door in the recovery rooms, there is something wrong with you. Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, I actually say, there is something wrong with you. So give it a go, because it ain't going to work back out there if you've walked through that door already. So thank you, Ray. That was inspirational. And people need to identify that, because we know we are from different walks of life, lots of us in here. And like you said, this disease does not discriminate. So, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Mac, I'm a recovering alcoholic addict. Yeah. Thanks, Ray. Good to hear you. Yeah, I just want to open my mouth. Part of me don't, like sometimes, I come into a meeting, but I remember going to a meeting a while ago, and there's some old bloke that's not around anymore, and he said, share as if your life depends on it, and I try and do that, whether I want to or not, because it is about staying clean and sober, but also about carrying the message, So I try and do that. So I got a lot out of you share, a lot of identification, I always do. I lived in South London for quite a while, Peckham, Camberwell, Brixton, all those areas. So, I know the sort of people that you're talking about, I'd start drinking, and then I'd end up in those places you're talking about, it was a really dark part of my life, really, and I was fearing for my life, put it that way. I was literally fearing for my life, and I remember moving out of them areas and worrying about my life, and getting the train down to Kent, and my head almost telling me that there was people on the train following me. And they'd find out where I am, and I wasn't a very big fish, in a big pond, but I was very worried for my life, and I'd walk out around them areas and I'd see it all taped up, where there'd been a shooting or a stabbing, and that kind of thing could happen over a tenner, that's where it takes people, and I'm so glad that I'm not living my life in fear anymore, I've become very paranoid. I've had psychosis through substances and that as well, and it's a wonderful program, the 10-point program, and I remember someone else. Nothing from me's original, I've sat around the rooms and listened to people, but one fella said that he put, I think at the time a lot of people smoked, and he put his tobacco down and on the floor so that he'd get on his knees in the morning and ask his higher power to stay clean and sober. And I always do that. It's not tobacco anymore, it's a vape, or it's it's McKee's or something like that. But and I said to one of them once, I said, "What, can't I just sort myself out first?" And he said, "Well, what if you stub your toe? You know what I mean? When you get up, So I do that every day, and I thank my higher power at night, for a clean, sober day. And I am really grateful for, the things that I was taking for granted. Like having a bite to eat, having a shower, looking after myself, being able to look people in the eye. When I first come in, I could tell everyone what shoes they were wearing, but I couldn't look at people in the eye, And I didn't trust anyone either. I know in these meetings I could leave my mobile and go out there and it's still there. Some of the places I've been, you just wouldn't. And I had a really bad using dream a while ago. and I was supposed to pay for something, and I've been doing everything on my phone, you know, with paying for it on my phone. I've only just learned how to do that, and I knew I had to pay these people, and I knew that if I took my phone out of my pocket, it would go missing, you know, and I couldn't pay these people, you know, because I couldn't trust getting my phone out, you know. But yeah, everything, you know, it just takes people to some very dark places, you know, and it made me very paranoid, very lonely, yeah, I became a shadow of myself, you know. I was an empty shell when I came into recovery, you know, and now I'm building my life up, you know. Acknowledge, thanks, Lucky. I'm building my life up, and you know, I'm in a much better place now thanks to these 10 points and everybody in these rooms. So thank everyone for keeping me clean and sober today. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
Yeah, Lucky. Grateful recovered addict. Yeah, lovely to hear you, Ray. We both come from Haringey. I've known you many years, both support the Arsenal. I've never done crack cocaine. Never done crack cocaine. I've never done heroin either. I've seen some people on crack cocaine and scared the life out of me. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. They're just like sticks. You know, they don't eat, they don't do anything. And I've taken cocaine, but I've never taken crack. And it's just pure cocaine, isn't it? They burn the impurities off. Someone explained to me, look, they just burn the impurities off. So it's basically, it's neat. It's just, you know, the hit is higher than if you sniff cocaine. And I went, oh, okay. But all I did was associate crack cocaine addicts with being like stick people. That's all I could know. Everyone I saw was a stick. And I went, oh, I don't want none of that. And heroin scared the life out of me. Yeah. I didn't even realise I was an addict, really. That's the truth. I mean, people talk about their childhood. Did you have a good or bad childhood? I had one childhood, and that's all I knew. I didn't have anything to compare it with. And I had one life. And I've come in here and I've been addicted to all sorts of things, you know, drugs, alcohol, lots of things. But really, you know, I found out in here that my problem wasn't them things. The problem was my behaviour and the way I was as a person, the way I leaned from a young age. Do you know what I mean? And I realised that what I see in other people and see in the world is just a confession of me. So I wouldn't trust anyone. Do you know what I mean? I walk in here, I'm not going to trust anyone. And I'll be honest, on my step forward, there was things I left off. I went through the plan and did other step work and also, and I left it off and went and shared it with a monk. Oh, I'm not telling a person that stuff. Do you know what I mean? No way in the world. Whether they, because I've got to sit in meetings with these people. It's not a question of whether he's a grass. Maybe he is, maybe he ain't. I have no idea. But the point was, I don't want to look at the fella. I didn't want to tell him my life story. And then, you know what I mean? It was dark. You know, and I sit and I found out about my character defects. I'm so judgmental. It's terrible. I judge people terribly. Really? Yeah. And impatience and, you know, intolerance and all these things. And then I find in here that it's about me fixing myself. It's about me admitting I'm broken. And you said it. You know, you talked about rebuilding. And I never realised, honestly. I mean, and all the harm that I've caused myself and others, I don't actually regret it because I just look at it now that I was a slow learner. Slow learner, that's all it was. I couldn't learn without enough pain. I had to absolutely blow my brains away and then keep doing it and keep walking out of casinos going, never do that again. Please give me the money back. Never do it again. No, I was always, please, I was always looking up there for, give me the money back. I'll never do it. I'll ban myself in the place. Get the money straight back in there. So you know what I mean? What I really meant was, can I have the money back? That's what I really meant. And lived you know, a really different type of life as addicts do, and lots to be grateful. I've got lots of good memories, but I've also been to hell. My body's exhausted. You've got lung problems. I've got ridiculous problems going on with me. Health issues, self-inflicted. I can't blame the NHS. God dear. You know, I do a gratitude list every day, and the first thing I'm is grateful to be alive. And then it's the NHS, because without the NHS, I simply wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? They keep pulling me out the well. And even in recovery, I've had problems with health like you, and they keep, you know, they keep me alive. And it's such a, I can't believe actually, isn't it amazing? You know you lived that life, you know you've done it, you know you did them things, and you know you're not in play. And I can't believe it looking back, because the change is so, now that life scares me. At the time, I thought it was fun. It's all adrenaline fueled and who cares and we get away with it. We're always going to get away with it. And in the end, you don't, do you? The more you go back to the well, you don't get away with it and it catches up with you. It catches up with you. And I've paid the price with myself and life. You know, I've destroyed things, external things, lost things, had things and all that. And, but the problem was, when I was in active addiction, all my friends were active addicts. I couldn't be around a normal person. I thought, what's this boring, isn't it? Why would you want to associate with them? But it's the worst type of people to deal with, isn't it? You deal with them, they're all crooks. Basically, well, that's my experience. They're all crooks, everyone's trying to rob each other. And I've lived in that world, and it's not really the way to carry on, is it? You know, at the time I thought it was funny, you know what I mean? Who can steal more money off each other? And it's not like that today. But, you know, I always enjoy listening to you. And slightly different journeys, but the carnage is the same. That all, you know, and I think that the truth is, without coming here, I'll be dead. So, you know, for me, the recovery rooms, without coming here, I'm just in a box. That's all I am. And for whatever I've got today, I'm not too worried externally, but whatever I've got in my life, I'm actually alive. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be. Without this, without changing, I'd just be dead. Because it all caught up with me, all came tumbling down, and I got a chance, and I took it. And, you know, it's the chance is to be taken as far as I'm concerned, but unless you've suffered, why would you? Do you know what I mean? You know better, that sort of thinking, but yeah. Anyway, it's always lovely listening to you, Ray. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Lucky.
Cheers. OK. So, you may have heard talk of a sponsor in this meeting this evening. If anyone is prepared to act as a sponsor, please raise your hand. Thank you. To prove the Recovery Room's Guide to Recovery works, will anyone with 50 days of recovery please raise your hand? And will anyone with a year of continuous sobriety please leave your hand up? OK. And I'll now hand the meeting over to our Literature Secretary, Holly, to tell us all about the literature.
Thanks, Lucky. Hi, everyone. I'm Holly. I'm a grateful recovering addict. The Recovery Room's Guide to Recovery is the lovely book that we work from with our 10-point plan. If anyone's new or in their first 100 days, you can get the book and some helpful free leaflets. So come and see me after the meeting, please, and I'll be more than happy to give them to you.
Oh, thanks, Holly.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone who did service in the meeting this evening, as well as everyone for attending, made the meeting possible. And finally, thanks to our chair, Ray. Thanks, guys. And finally, I'd just like to end with our closing reading. Please let God, as I understand God, guide me in all and live in the present moment with a heart full of gratitude for all I have. And we hope to see you all again next week. Thanks.